You know what makes my blood boil? When WWE builds up a champion 4 months, tells you he's the guy, the face of Raw, the new WWE Champion who earned his moment after years of waiting, only to feed him to Roman Reigns like he's some mid-card jobber who doesn't belong in the same ring. That's exactly what happened at Survivor Series 2021, and if you were a Big E fan, what you witnessed that night wasn't just a loss, it was character assassination. Let me take you back to the 21st of November 2021. Madison Square Garden, the most famous arena in the world. Champion versus champion. Big E, the WWE Champion who cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase just 2 months earlier, finally getting his singles run after being stuck in tag team purgatory. On the other side, Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, the Universal Champion who had been demolishing everyone in his path for over a year. This should have been a dream match. This should have been the night Big E proved he belonged at the top of the mountain. Instead, it became a masterclass in how to destroy a champion's credibility in 17 minutes. From the moment that bell rang, you could feel it. This wasn't going to be competitive. This wasn't going to be the back and forth war between two world champions that we deserved. The Tribal Chief came to make a statement, and that statement was simple: Big E, you don't belong in my ring. The match started with some lockups, some feeling out process, but here's where things get interesting. Big E hit his signature moves, the belly-to-belly suplexes, the warrior splash, all the offense that made him champion. And what did it accomplish? Nothing. Roman kicked out like Big E was hitting him with pillows. Meanwhile, every time Roman landed a Superman punch or a spear, Big E looked like he'd been hit by a freight train. The psychology was all wrong. When two champions collide, especially when both are babyfaces in their respective brands, you're supposed to make both look strong. You're supposed to show that either man could win on any given night. Instead, this felt like a squash match in slow motion. Big E got his hope spots, sure, but they were just that, spots of hope before the inevitable Roman Reigns dominance. And here's the part that still makes me furious: the Usos weren't even at ringside. There was no interference, no shenanigans. This was a clean Roman Reigns victory, which means WWE wanted you to believe that Big E, the WWE Champion, the man who represented Monday Night Raw, simply wasn't on Roman's level. Period. Let me ask you something, and drop your answer in the comments because I want to know, did this match help Big E at all, or did it just make him look like a placeholder champion? Think about the build to this match. Big E had been WWE Champion for 2 months. In that time, he defended against Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, and other top stars. He was getting pushed as Raw's top guy, the happy-go-lucky powerhouse who worked his way up from the New Day to singles glory. The fans loved him. His merchandise was selling. Everything pointed toward WWE finally pulling the trigger on Big E as the guy. Then Survivor Series happened, and WWE said, actually, never mind. Roman is the only guy that matters. The finishing sequence was perhaps the most disrespectful part. Big E went for the big ending, his finishing move, the move that won him the WWE Championship, and Roman countered it into a rock-bottom style slam. Then, almost mockingly, Roman hit a spear that looked like it folded Big E in half. 1, 2, 3. Your WWE Champion just got demolished in the middle of the ring with no excuses, no controversy, nothing to protect him. Madison Square Garden, the garden that had seen Bruno Sammartino, Bob Backlund, and Bret Hart defend their honor, just witnessed their current WWE Champion get treated like an afterthought. But here's what really grinds my gears about this entire situation: WWE had options. They could have booked a double count-out to protect both champions. They could have had the Usos interfere, giving Big E an out while keeping Roman looking strong. They could have even, and hear me out, let Big E win, because shocking the world and having Raw's champion stand tall would have elevated both brands and created an actual memorable moment. Instead, they chose the most predictable, most deflating outcome possible. Roman wins, Roman stands tall, and Big E? He goes back to Raw looking like a second-rate champion who got exposed when facing real competition. The aftermath was even worse. Did WWE use this loss to fuel a redemption arc for Big E? Did they have him come back more aggressive, more determined to prove he belonged? No, they just moved on like it never happened. Big E went back to having mediocre feuds, and within 2 months, he lost the WWE Championship to Brock Lesnar in a match where he was barely a factor. By WrestleMania 38, Big E wasn't even in a singles match, he was back with the New Day in a tag team match on the pre-show. Let that sink in. In less than 6 months, Big E went from WWE Champion to pre-show tag team wrestler. And it all started with how he was presented at Survivor Series 2021. Now, some of you in the comments are going to say, but Roman was in the Bloodline storyline. He needed to look unstoppable. And you know what? You're right. Roman's run as tribal chief has been phenomenal, one of the best championship reigns in recent memory. But here's the problem, you don't have to destroy one champion to elevate another. That's lazy booking, and it's exactly what WWE did here. Quick question for the comment section, who do you think WWE should have had win this match, and how would you have booked it differently? Let's talk about what this match represented beyond just the result. Survivor Series used to be about brand supremacy, Raw versus SmackDown. It was supposed to matter which show was superior, but when your WWE Champion gets demolished by the Universal Champion in a clean fight, what message does that send? It tells the audience that Raw is the inferior brand, that the WWE Championship is the lesser title, and that Big E is a lesser champion. And the WWE Championship has never recovered from this era. Think about it. After Big E, who held the title? Brock Lesnar, who treated it like a part-time accessory. Then Bobby Lashley in a forgettable reign. Then Roman Reigns unified the titles, literally making the WWE Championship cease to exist as a separate entity for over a year. The title that was once held by Bruno Sammartino for over 2,800 days became an afterthought, and it started with matches like this one where WWE told you it didn't matter. Big E deserved better. The WWE Championship deserved better. And honestly, we as fans deserve better. This match lasted 17 minutes and 33 seconds. In that time, WWE could have created a bona fide main event star. They could have had a competitive classic that people would talk about for years. Instead, they had Roman Reigns beat Big E clean in the center of the ring, and expected us to still take Big E seriously afterward. Here's the reality that WWE didn't want to admit: they were never fully behind Big E as a singles champion. He was a transitional champion meant to keep the title warm until they could get it on Brock Lesnar and eventually Roman Reigns. This match at Survivor Series was just WWE showing their hand early. The saddest part? Big E is talented. The man is charismatic, strong, athletic, and has genuine connection with the audience. In a different era, or with different booking, he could have been a multi-time world champion with legendary feuds and WrestleMania main events. Instead, he got a 4-month WWE Championship reign that nobody remembers, capped off by being fed to Roman Reigns at Survivor Series. Before we wrap this up, I want to hear from you. What was the biggest mistake WWE made with Big E's championship reign, and could he still become a main event star if given another chance? Drop your thoughts below. Looking back at Survivor Series 2021, this match is a perfect example of everything wrong with modern WWE booking. They build someone up just enough to make you think they matter, then tear them down to remind you who the real stars are. Big E was sacrificed at the altar of Roman Reigns' historic championship run, and his career has never been the same. This wasn't just a match, it was a statement.